Hey, welcome to another episode of Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view. We're doing a special Thanksgiving show today where we're going to talk about the pilgrims' first few years in the New World here at Plymouth Colony in Massachusetts. We'll talk about the failed experiment in socialism. My co-host, Lloyd Mendenhall, should be here very soon. He just stepped out of the studio and he will be back momentarily. So we've got a great show today. And plus, we're going to talk about new developments in the impeachment proceedings and what's all going on there, and the investigation of Joe Biden, and Joe Biden's son. So that'll be interesting. So let's welcome my co-host Lloyd Mendenhall.
Hey, Art, I've been sitting here and I was wondering why my screen was showing the test pattern, which is what I do before when I go away from the screener. I forgot to hit the external button. Talk about a noob, man.
Yeah, I that happened to me too.
I did.
Starting up the show, I had to go. Okay, don't want to get into Streamyard just yet. Go back to vMix, get everything working, and finally got it working. But I love your background. It looks so newsy.
Yeah, I've done a little redecorating of the office.
Wonderful, wonderful. Looks
So,
great. Uh, no guest today. Today is a special Thanksgiving show. We're going to talk about the failed socialist experiment by the pilgrims in the first couple of years of their existence at Plymouth Colony in Massachusetts.
okay, that'll be interesting.
Okay,
I
so
haven't I haven't, I think it's grade school the last time I discussed or junior high. I can't remember the last time I talked about the Pilgrims.
right. Well, this is kind of a tradition on my Arts Place show when around this time of year, just before Thanksgiving, I always talk about the first few years of the colonists at Plymouth, Massachusetts, and their failed experiment in socialism, and why we've got these candidates who are just so enamored that, oh, we got to go into socialism. And all we have to do is look at the beginnings
Yep.
and find out, and also point out to other countries that have delved into socialism and the failures there. So I'm going to read something about their failed experiment. Okay, so
Okay.
all right. So I'm going to skip ahead a few paragraphs to this. Pilgrims accepted the socialist principle from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. Each person was placed his production into a common warehouse and received back through the governor only what he needed for himself and his family. The surplus after 7 years was to be divided equally among the houses, lands, and chattel. Betwixt, yeah, that's a fancy word, betwixt the
Betwixt. Yeah.
adventurers and planters. The pilgrims actually wanted their own lands and homes and to work 2 days a week for their own gain, but the adventurers would not allow it. Once the agreement was signed, the two ships were outfitted for the journey. The Speedwell and the Mayflower, but the Speedwell proved unseaworthy, so everyone's still waiting to make the journey 101st 102 persons crowded the Mayflower and set sail. Patton wrote that after the landing on December 21st, 1620, the pilgrims suffered horribly the first winter, with around half the colonists perishing. Aid from the now native Squanto helped them survive with new planting techniques, but the harvests of 1621 and 22 were still small. The colony's governor, William Bradford, wrote, "It's a socialist philosophy greatly hindered its growth. Young men resented working for the benefit of other men's wives and children without compensation. Healthy men who were thought unjust that they received no more food than the weak men who could not. Wives resented doing household chores for other men, considering it's a kind of slavery."
Yeah.
Governor Bradford wrote that to avoid the famine in 1623, the Pilgrims abandoned socialism. At length, after much debate of things, the governor, with the advice of the chiefest among them, gave away what they gave way that they should set corn for every man with for his own particular and regard trust to themselves, and all other things to go on in the general way as before. And so assigned to everyone was a family parcel of land, Bradford wrote. The colonists, each whom had grown their own food, suddenly became very industrious, with women and children who had earlier claimed weakness now going to the fields to plant corn. 3 times the amount of corn was planted that year under the new system. When a drought threatened the year's harvest, Governor Bradford called a day of fasting and prayer to seek the Lord's humble and fervent prayer in his great distress. God answered that same night with rain that continued in the coming days, and the years brought plentiful harvest. By the fall of 1624, the colonists were able to export a boatload of corn, Patton wrote, and the pilgrims settled with the adventurers. They purchased the adventurers' stock in the colony and completed the transition to a private property and
I'll be
free
right back,
market.
Art.
All right. So there you have it. That was the experiment in socialism and how it failed. Because people naturally are not going to want to work for someone else's benefit. It's natural for a family to provide for themselves, and if they have any more a surplus, then they will, help out people who are in need, and that's how it's always been in the United States. Before the welfare system, we had the churches, were the charities. They helped the poor, and they're the ones that set up the soup lines during the Depression, not government. And when people were able to provide for their own family without the assistance of government. So, as our country grew, and throughout the years, people started saying, we need government to help us to do this, to do that people need help. And so the government replaced the church to help people out. There are a lot of really good organizations out there that do great work for people, and like Habitat for Humanity, uh, Salvation Army, and many other uh, charity related functions. Oh, ARC is one, Goodwill is one. So there are a lot of organizations out there that are already set up to help uh, people in need. Uh, So, but when government gets involved, it removes the incentives for people to work because it makes it easy for people to say, oh, why should I work when I get free stuff from the government, you know? And then you start having fraud starts creeping in there because people will start gaming the system and getting into nefarious things, to earn extra money. So, and that's a problem. I mean, look at what happened in the Soviet Union. And Lloyd is back. So,
Well, sort of. My screen is froze.
oh yeah, it is. And you have that typical grumpy look.
Yeah. I have no clue what's going on.
Oh boy.
It's just been one of those days. Uh, I've been working on another computer all day.
Oh, okay. Good, good.
I'm sorry, I was kicking something down there. Anyways, I've been working on another computer for Judy because she wants to, and uh, it's just been one of those that every time I turn around, something goes wrong.
Yeah, that always seems to happen when you have more technology. We sort of get complacent and rely on that technology. Then when it goes kablooey, we just start
Yeah,
pulling out our hair. I mean, look at Greg Coonert. I mean, he's got hardly any hair left.
I know. I
Dealing with
know.
that wire crash.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, I was going to let you know. I don't know if you heard, but his father came through the surgery just fine,
Oh, that's wonderful.
and he, you know how anesthesia will make you, uh, kind of loopy.
Yeah.
Well, when they went to wake him up, they said, "Mr. Coonert, uh, your better half is here." And he opens his eyes. He goes, "Am I in heaven or am I in hell?" That was his first comment. Apparently, he's got a good sense of humor. I haven't seen an update today,
Uh-huh.
but anyways,
Well, Lloyd, have you tried to refresh your screen? Maybe that'll do the trick.
yeah. Let me do this real quick. Uh, Hang on just a second.
Okay. Technical
Uh,
issues. Please stand by.
yeah.
So, Drone Life is in the house. Hello, Drone Life. All right, we just got a technical glitch going on. So let's see what's going on in the YouTube world. See if our show is streaming on YouTube yet, and it should be there. Yep, it's live right now. Let's see if I'm. Oh, good. I'm not frozen, but there we go. Alrighty, so got great plans for my holiday. Going over to my sister's, and my niece and her family are going to be there, and it should be a wonderful Thanksgiving. Last year was a lot of fun, where we played this game where we took a bunch of prizes, and then we stuck them in cellophane, and we had a great big ball of cellophane, and there's a timer. and you're given X amount of seconds, something like 30 seconds, to unravel this ball. And when you do that, the prize will fall out until your time is up and you hand it to the next person. They do the same thing, and the grand prize is usually in the center of the little ball, which
Oh,
is a
that's
lot of
cool.
fun.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's cool.
Uh, well, welcome back, Lord. Looks
Thank
like we
you.
got everything all straightened out
Yeah,
for the
it's
moment.
I got it for the moment. I'm no guarantees. And hello to Drone Life RC.
So, yeah, I was just talking about the colonists' experiment with socialism in the couple of years and how that had a devastating effect. And then when they decided to go to free markets, it's like, hey, all of a sudden there's surplus of food. And they
Yeah.
actually had more than enough food that they shipped back to England.
Well, that was their whole purpose of being here was to, well, they were trying to escape persecution,
Yep,
religious persecution, but they were also here to make money for the company that they
right.
were who this help ship them over there. So
Yep.
and yeah, yeah, socialism at its best is is worse than free market at its worst. You know, that's just my
Hmm.
opinion. It just and you're right. A lot of those young men they didn't like the idea of having to work for, you know. All right, some guys got especially especially the single men. I read a historical fiction about that time period, and they were they were very fed up with having to, hey, they didn't have wife, they didn't have kids,
Yep.
and yet they were having to work to feed them, you know,
Yep.
and
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah, and it just that's that's why it failed,
Hmm.
and that's why it will always fail because
Yep.
eventually, I mean, it's like I saw can't remember what it was, but look, well, you guys may have seen this. I think Ronald Reagan is the school teacher, sort of a cartoon, and President Obama was one of the students. Bill Clinton was one of them. Hillary, and all the usual suspects. George W. and George W. and Bill just weren't quite, you know, they weren't getting the A's that they should have. They were barely scraping by with C's. But under the idea of socialism, they decided to make it equal for everybody. So the next time around, uh, they, said, well, why are they getting, why did I work so hard and studied, and yet here they are getting, you know, C's, and now they're getting B's. And their grade level went up, or their grade
They're
level
great.
went up, and the others went down.
Uh-huh.
And it's trying to equalize everybody. Eventually, uh, before the with the whole experiment, the whole class ended up flunking in the end
Hmm.
because none of them worked. And
Yep.
if somebody doesn't do some studying or do some work in socialism, it's going to fail,
Yep. Hmm.
and that's why it fails. So
Yep. All you have to do is look at the countries that delved in socialism and communism,
yeah,
and they all failed. I mean, that is why China is dipping its toe in the free markets, even
yeah,
though it's still a communist country, but it's becoming more less and less communist and more of a dictatorship.
yeah. I was going to say it's more of a dictatorship now.
Mhm.
Still have. Uh, I've never, of course, I've never really studied the Chinese version of communism. I've never quite. Uh, I don't know if they're still running on the same principles that they did under Chairman Mao, or if it's morphed into something completely different now.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's probably different because now they're allowing free markets to work in their country because their labor is so cheap. that
Yeah.
money is flowing into the Chinese economy because they figure, they got a billion plus people over there, and they got to do something to keep them somewhat happy so they don't rise up against the government and causing trouble. So they allow some capitalism
Yeah.
in the country, like our favorite company, DJI.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that stems from the British turnover of Hong Kong,
Yep,
which was which was a free enterprise country,
yep.
and I never understood why the British did that, but I guess
Well, I
Uh,
think it was a mixture of logistics and, it's expensive to maintain these, what were
colonies,
colonies,
colonies. Yeah,
and decide, let's let the Chinese deal with it. Now look at what's going on. Those people are starting to resist the communist government.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, they're starting to resist, and uh, China's starting to crack down, and eventually it's going to go. We're going to have another Tiananmen Square. You know,
Yep. Uh-huh.
and I have an idea. Once they crack down, free enterprise will collapse inside of China. Uh, because a lot of their labor comes from the prisons. You know,
Yeah.
Inst- instead of giving our prisoners, like they say, three hots and a cot,
Yeah.
and instead of giving them TV and the internet and all that crap, make them work.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's
make
how
them,
it used to be. They used to make license plates. They
yeah,
used to work in the quarry,
yes,
breaking
yeah,
pots.
yeah,
And
they,
now, with we gotta treat them humanely, and to an extent,
yeah,
I
it's
agree, but
yeah.
they should be.
Well,
It should be about retribution. You know?
prison used to be a deterrent. You
Yeah.
know, you knew if you didn't fly straight, you were going to go to prison. And the ones who usually went to prison were the ones who were pretty bad cases,
Yeah.
and uh, and they were usually from, you know, they might have a whole family in there, because you know, like in the South, well, granddad was a moonshiner, dad was a moonshiner, I'm a moonshiner.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's what happened a lot,
Mm.
uh, but then, well, I keep saying our generation has a lot of crap to answer for.
Yeah.
The hippies, the peace, the love, and the
Yeah.
kumbaya crap. You know,
Yeah. Now those hippies are running our schools, and
yep,
we wonder why we got millennials that they get out of school. Oh, we gotta help them out with their self-esteem, and then they get out and they find out what the real world is like, and it's like, oh my God, I can't handle this. Oh,
oh yeah, I. It's like the military. Uh, they have gone. Part of the reason these young men are coming back with such severe PTSD. Well, there's a couple things. It's a nasty war, and all war
yeah.
is. But it's a generation that wasn't prepared for war. You know,
Mm,
we had relative peace over a, you know, 30 30 year period. You
right.
know, Persian Gulf, or uh, Desert Storm, as it's called. That was a 100-day war. You know,
Mhm.
that was it. And,
Yep.
slam bam, thank you, ma'am. It was over with. We were in, we were out, we were done.
Yep.
Accomplished the mission and went home.
Yep.
And now, but we didn't take care of some business that needed to be taken care of. Uh, we have gotten mired down in Afghanistan and all the little surrounding areas there, and
Hmm.
Iraq. We got Syria that we're dealing with, and or not dealing with, depending on the case.
Yeah.
But uh, and these wars have gone on for, well, we're coming up, 18 years now.
Yeah.
It's 18 years since 9/11. We started in this,
Yep.
and the reason for going after the Taliban then was to eliminate the threat. And
Mhm.
you know, we've done that, but we're, you know, 10 years ago, the kids that were going over there were 19 or 20. They're now, going on, 29 and 30. Now
Yep.
they're the older generation. We're sending more 19-year-olds over there, you
Hmm.
know, and those 19-year-olds are no more ready for that than the first set, you know, and that's why we got such a high suicide rate amongst the military now, or the veterans.
Yep.
And, uh, you know, it was all because we didn't, we felt that we had to get rid of the draft, and we had to get rid of, this, and we had, I mean, there was a young man that dated one of my granddaughters,
Yeah.
and there's two guys that were home on leave. There, one that was her boyfriend, and the other one was his his buddy, and they were home on leave after boot camp. Well, one guy got to have a cell phone on Saturdays, you know, to make calls and do what we didn't have cell phones when I was in, but anyways, make calls and do that stuff. The other guy got to have his every night before lights out.
Hmm.
You know why that was?
No.
Because the guy that got it every night, they felt wasn't socially or mentally stable enough to not be able to call his mommy every night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine if they had cell phones back when you were in the service.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time we got to make phone calls. We got to do them on Saturdays, and I think I think it'd been 2 weeks, and we all went running over to the phone booth. Yeah, phone booth.
Yeah. Imagine that, a phone
Right.
booth.
Yeah. Put our money in, made collect calls home, you
Hmm.
know, and
Yeah.
got to talk for 3 minutes, and boom, we were gone,
Mm.
you
I
know.
always
And
wonder what would Superman do in these days? Where's
yeah,
the phone? Where's the phone booth? I can't.
yeah, yeah. Well, there hadn't been a stand-up phone booth that you could get inside of for
Oh
probably
God. Well.
25 years, 30 maybe,
Mm-hmm.
because they started just putting those phones with the little
Yeah.
metal casing
Yeah.
around them.
Hmm.
But anyways, we've digressed. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's
All right. Well, we were talking about the first few years of the Pilgrims
right, right,
colony in Plymouth, and how you know once they got away from socialism, the colony flourished. And then after that, more people were settling in the same vicinity and along the coast of the United States, and they uh, they did the free market thing, and that's how the the original 13 colonies got going.
right, right.
It's
Yeah,
they traded with each other and sent their goods back to England, and because we had a lot of wood here, so a lot of firearms were made here
mm-hmm.
and sent back to England. But I think they had rules on where the people here couldn't own firearms except for hunting, or
Right.
uh, so.
Yeah. Well, that's a different story all of itself.
Mm, mhm, that's right.
And
And well, back in the 1800s when uh, farmers did a lot of they did a lot of farming, of course, but they were kind of the breadbasket of the United States. And they had co-ops where they would help each other out,
yeah,
and they had place where they could take their grain or their livestock and sell them, and that's how they made their money.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Co-ops were a big thing, and that's that's a different setup than a commune. Oh,
Right.
I'm getting a call. Hang on.
That's
Let
right.
me get this real quick.
Okay. All right. So, wow, let's see. How many people we got here? We got one person here, two people watching. Yeah, boy, this. Why is it entertaining?
What's going on?
Well, I was just noticing in YouTube, the category is entertainment. I don't know. I always put it under news and politics.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I need to step in there for real quick and go take
okay.
care of Judy real quick, and I'll be right back.
All right.
All right.
No problem, Lloyd.
Yep.
I will just fill me up and keep talking, and we'll keep going with this. So, what is going on in the impeachment? Well, there's more and more testimony going on, and now it looks like they've finished up with all the testimonies of the lawyers. Uh, of all the witnesses, and it turns out just about every one of these witnesses that they've been debunked, and the Republicans have uh, basically shown that there's no crime here. You know, there was no quid pro quo. There's no there's no bribery. There was nothing. But the Democrats are just bent on trying to change the outcome of the election of 2016. They just do not want Donald Trump in. And there are several things why the Democrats are all up in arms about this. The big elephant in the room is all the appointments to these judgeships in district courts, appeals courts, circuit courts. We are, well, Donald Trump and the Republicans are flipping a lot of these very liberal uh, districts, whether it's a appellate court or district court or circuit court, they are being filled with conservatives, and the Democrats are just going crazy about it, and they're losing their minds over it. And that's one of the big things why they want to remove Donald Trump. I don't know why, because Pence is just going to do the same thing. He's going to appoint conservatives to the bench. And just recently, Donald Trump was able to fill some vacancies in several district courts. And now those courts are now flipped to conservatives. So they're really worried about how this is going to affect their agenda. So let's bring Lloyd back, and welcome
Okay.
back, Lloyd.
All right. Yeah.
We were talking about the impeachment and how it looks like it's wrapping up in the House, and they called their final witness, I guess, Friday, and how basically each one of these witnesses have been debunked
Yeah.
by the Republicans,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the Democrats
Now,
have egg on their face.
well, and the thing I don't understand is, all right, they're having they're having them open meetings, but they're still not out of the committee, is it?
I don't know. I
I don't
think
think it's
they're
gone to.
going to either go for a vote, and I think they're Donald Trump is trying to push the issue to where he's trying to put them in a position to where they're going to have a vote on the floor whether to send this over to the Senate, whether they're going to vote on, yeah, Donald Trump's impeached. There you go. All right,
Yeah.
what? Well, it goes to the Senate,
Right.
and I think Donald Trump has a a pretty good chance of being acquitted, but it's not a done deal because we got some Republicans that could flip.
Yeah.
They could really,
Yeah. But they got to have 60 and,
well, they got to have 60. Yeah.
to convict, you
Yeah.
know, and they're not even sure they have enough. What I've seen lately in the last couple of days, they're not even sure they have enough votes to get it out of the House
Oh, okay.
because there's several Democrats that are starting to waver
Yeah,
because
because
their constituents.
they're in districts that if they vote yes, their heads are on the
Yeah, yeah,
their
yeah. There's
heads.
I I'm wondering if, I mean, because they have to have it. My understanding is they have to have it. Yeah, impeachment does not mean out of office. Uh, if he's convicted in the Senate
Yeah.
of the wrongdoing, then he's out of office. And there's never been a president removed from office.
Yep. Hmm.
And it would be a sad travesty for this to be the one,
Yeah.
and for under this reason, because, and I honestly think before he'd be removed from office, they may take it to the Supreme Court to adjudicate it on whether it was even constitutional, because the House and the Senate still, but they can't do anything until it goes to the Senate or comes out of the House.
Right.
You know, they have to follow constitutional rule and or law, and that's when it will be adjudicated. Yeah, and when you got the when you have the White House and Congress at odds, that's when the Supreme Court has to step in and make a decision. That's the checks and balance system.
Hmm.
And I on I don't know that it's ever been brought up, but I have an idea it will be this time.
Hmm.
Yeah, they hated him before he was elected.
Yeah, that's
What
right.
Drone RC.
Hmm.
They've been trying to. They went so far as to try and sway the electorate from the electoral college
Yeah.
to vote against Trump.
Yep.
They did everything they could, and
That's another reason why they want to go to a national popular vote.
yeah.
Hmm.
But good thing he does get to. I don't know if you saw this, but he does get to run on the California
Yeah, I saw
ticket.
that. Yeah,
The California Supreme Court says nope, you
yeah.
can't do that.
Hmm. Yep.
So
They're trying to make it. Well, he could be on the ballot on one condition if he releases
yeah.
his taxes.
Oh, there's
And
Mitch.
oh, hey, Mitch, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's yeah. The Democrats and the media were against him the whole
What?
time,
Yeah, well,
and
yeah.
it was it's well. I've said this a long time ago, and I've always said it. If you want to win a revolution and have a silent revolution, what you do is you take over the media first. I
Yeah.
mean, every coup, every revolution they've
Yeah.
ever had.
Hmm. That's correct.
Yeah, you're
And,
right, Mitch. We are a small but influential group.
mhm.
At least we like to think so. Yeah. But and they've done that.
Yeah, pretty much the media is in the pocket of the Democrat Party. They are, they're shilling for the president by putting out all this negative stuff. Uh, I wanted to bring up. There's somebody that's a friend of both of ours. That's well, I won't. He's a friend of ours, and he's on a lot of these panels that we see. and he keeps posting stuff on Facebook that's always something to ding the president with. And
Yeah,
that I just look in the corner, I see where the source is, and it's what? It's a Democrat source. I mean,
right.
it's
Yeah.
for a news organization that that's biased towards the one side against the other.
Well, that's a good thing about American politics is we can have differences of opinion. And that is the good thing about being in the drone community. We seem to set those aside, you
Mhm.
know. Uh, Now, of course, this is not your drone channel, and this is not my, vlogging live channel.
Yeah.
And so we say what we feel here.
Yep.
Uh, and just in case the FTC is listening, no, this is not meant for under 13.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Here's what I think of the FTC. Okay, we've just lost all credibility now. We're not
Yeah.
really, I just brought down the class of this channel by about
Well,
20%.
right here, I've got my tablet. Oop, if I could hold on to it, and I do have. I think it's the same app you've got, and here we are. We're diverging from.
Yeah, politics to soundboards.
Yeah, I've got the sound button once it
Yeah,
goes up, and yeah, here we go. Yeah, see, it's
yep. I think
like
that's
that.
it. Yeah,
And all I need now is an audio cable to plug into my computer, and
yep.
then I will be able to do fart noises too.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you can buy one of those. I've got one here that I don't know. I bought it for $4 off of Amazon.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
no, I may have actually gone up to Best Buy and bought it. Come to
Oh.
think of it, I can't remember where I bought it at. So,
Yeah.
but
That's what I may end up doing is just run up to Best Buy and grab one and
yeah, see if
plug
they've
in.
got one because all you have
Yeah.
to do is plug in from your headset out and plug
Yeah.
it into your line in or your
Yep. That's
uh,
right.
rear audio in because you're using a USB connected mic,
Yep. Hmm.
and so you can put this in your mic in
Yep.
because yeah, that's the way mine's set up because my mixing board hooks up through USB. So
Yeah. Well, probably the next big investment will be a better mixing board that could plug in the USB, and then I could use my other microphone that has the
XLR,
XLR mic, yeah,
yeah,
XLR microphone, and that board will have effects on it to where I could do echo and reverb and all
right.
that neat stuff.
Which board are you getting?
I don't know. The one that I had was a Behringer.
Yeah, they're pretty good. But
Yeah. So I may go to the next model up. I had one that had all the bells and whistles. It was a 4 channel mics,
right,
and it had the effects thing in it, but I kept having issues with it when I was doing the internet radio show, and I got tired of messing with it. And I finally just said,
right.
"What the heck with it?" Just unplugged everything and just went straight into the computer. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I was sitting here thinking, I think I've got a couple Behringer setups that I tried and I was never happy with them. When I got this Tascam, it comes with three PON buttons, which
Uh-huh.
are sound effects, but they don't work with BMix.
Oh,
I can sit here, and you can't hear any of that.
right.
Yeah. The only thing that
does work is this. So
Uh,
I do like that.
uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Well, after the show, we'll talk about the sound effects that I ask you to help
yeah.
me with. So
Oh
we'll,
yeah, I've got it. It's been one of them weeks, Art, and I just have not got. I haven't gotten done anything that I was supposed to do this week.
Hmm.
And Judy's had a bad week. It's just
Oh,
just not resting well and sleeping well, and
yeah,
I think one of her meds is making her just a little agitated. So I've got to figure out what that is, and she's just having problems. And
yeah.
she's been worried about these kidney test results, and they're
Uh,
they came back and they're improved. They're not back up to full yet,
right.
uh, but yeah, Mitch, it's just part of my life. It
Yeah.
goes with the territory of a
Hmm.
caretaker.
Yeah. Well, I'm feeling much better today after my little spill that I had on Thursday.
Yeah, I saw that you
I cracked the rib, like
cracked the rig. That just
right right here. Oh boy. Because I was going to get the mail, and you gotta step up over this curb from the street, and
right.
toe just kind of caught the top edge, and I just went boop, and I landed sideways with my hand like this, and I scraped up my knuckles pretty good, and I felt like, oh God, and then it just started getting feeling worse and worse. Visit with Spike fix you up. Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, did you go on Spike's show?
Yeah, I was on last night. Had a lot.
Oh, that's what I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
I had to step away from your show for about 5 minutes, and I typed in "be right back," and I missed the candy thing, and I knew
Oh,
the answer. So
I
that's
bet.
yeah. I thought, oh my God, I'd have had that typed in before before he finished the sentence because I knew the answer. Because
Yeah.
well,
And Mel is going, I know, I know, I know. I
yeah,
said, be
yeah,
quiet, Mel.
yeah,
Don't give it away.
yeah.
You've already won.
Yeah, and I hadn't won yet, but Mike B is a good guy. He's a nice
Yeah.
guy, and
Yeah. I just gotta
so,
get his address, and I'll ship
but
this
yeah,
off.
it was. I was just like, I actually went back later to listen to what the question was because it's over, and I saw he won. It's like, and then I started seeing Grand Junction. I got, okay, what was the actual? I scrolled back a little bit and saw what people had put up there, and I thought, I gotta see what this question was. So I scrolled it back after the show and listened to that part of it, and I'm going, oh my God, you know.
Yeah, that's where the
I mean,
factory is.
that's
Where
where I
the
graduated high school at.
Yeah.
We used to go downtown and watch them make that stuff. They had a
Mhm.
big plate glass window that you could sit there and just
Yep.
watch that machine just work that work that stuff. And then when it got to a certain point, then they'd take and dump it out and they'd roll it out.
Yep.
And it was just it was fun to watch the processes that they went
Yep.
through.
Hmm.
And they had several different types of candies, but watching and they'd throw down those almonds, and or pecans, whatever they put on the top of it,
It's
and then
all yeah.
yeah, and then lay the chocolate down, flip it over, and lay
Yep.
another layer. It's just
Yeah.
it was impressive to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were generous, sometimes you might get a free sample. Yeah,
So
yeah, I missed that.
I might have to do that on this show to get people to come in.
There you go. Yeah,
I'll have to go back in. I gotta change my category from. Well, I don't understand why I'm in entertainment. It should be under news. Well, I'll fix that up. But yeah, so here we are. We're talking about impeachment, and the Democrats keep changing their mind. No, it's not. It's not quid pro quo. It's bribery. It's this,
yeah.
that. They can't make up their mind. And oh yeah, hey Ron. Yeah, well, there's going to be more shows out there. So hopefully next. Oh yeah, Ron was in Denver yesterday.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, they flew in a kid from up there down to Children's Hospital here. So he was only here for a few hours, and I was hoping, after the show, maybe have dinner together and finally meet each other. But yeah, but we're still working on the meetup. We're doing a spin up of the Rockies. So
There you go.
yeah,
That sounds like a winner.
mm-hmm.
I was
Yep.
trying to answer that, and I didn't have everything brought up the way it should have been.
And
Uh,
I'm going. And you know what I found out on? I could do this now. I did not know that you could do this until Spike talked about it
oh,
last night.
I've seen the guys do it, but I didn't know how it works.
Yeah. All you have to do is click on the comment, and it'll bring it up on like that. I'm like going, hey, how cool is that? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Now everybody can see that. Tascam Mini Studio. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Okay. So after the show, we'll talk about.
It comes with these, wonderful little things.
Like, well, this. I have been watching the Star Wars series. I started at Rogue One, and then I went from there, went to New Hope, and now I'm at the Empire Strikes Back. So I've got the Darth Vader thing going on.
Anyways, you can't understand when you use that darn thing. But
Oh,
anyways, I was watching. I've been watching the Star Wars stuff this weekend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when it goes to the Senate. I mean, will Nancy Pelosi actually take it to the floor for vote? I mean, this could be a sticky situation for her, because it could blow up massively in her face.
Well, I suspect that they'll take it to a vote, and it probably won't pass. And then she'll be able to sit back and say, I kept telling them we didn't want to do that. And I mean, because to be honest, Nancy's going to get reelected because she lives in wine country. All she's got to do is get them drunk down there, and they'll vote for her.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of winos, anyways, where she works at, or where she's from. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they're going to have to. I think they'll have to vote, and I think if it doesn't hurt them, right now, I think it will in next November.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's not going to be the end. This may not pass, so they're going to try something else.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, they'll try to get a bunch of doctors to have them declared incompetent and having removed from office under the 25th Amendment.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. That's their next step.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do that, I think the military. Yeah, and here's the problem: the military over the last 30 years has been infiltrated by a bunch of. Well, look at that dweeb with his, what we used to call birth control glasses. Those horn rim glasses, and he looked like some little marshmallow. He looked like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in a military uniform. And how that guy ever made it to major?
Yeah.
I did notice though his lips were awful red, so he must have done some real puckering up to get there.
Yeah.
But he has no more business wearing a military uniform than I do at this age. Actually, I'd probably do it better. But yeah, he was lieutenant colonel. That's right, he was lieutenant colonel. Yeah, and I just like, are you kidding me? That guy made it to lieutenant colonel, and it's like, that's just
yeah.
the guy is, well, first off, he was not following orders half the time. He disobeyed direct orders from his superiors. And why he's still in the military? Because they wanted him there. They needed somebody who could, you know, keep tabs on what the military were doing. Because I guarantee you, they try and take Trump out again. Say through
Incompetence.
incompetence.
Insubordination.
I have an idea the military may have to step in because they're required by our oath to defend the Constitution,
Yep.
both against foreign and domestic
Right.
enemies, and they're getting very close to treason. They're
Yeah.
just what Schiff has done is actually, in my opinion, very close to treasonous. And I hope he gets called on it. I mean, I really think somebody like him needs to be in jail
Mhm.
or at least removed from office.
Yeah.
But and I'm hoping the conservatives out there don't sit at home and wring their hands and say, "But I don't really like the guy." You don't have to like him if he's doing a good job. If you
Yeah.
know he's competent,
Right.
it's. I'm going to say a bad word here, not real bad, but I'm going to say a bad word here. Somebody called, one of my family members said, "But Trump's an asshole." I said, "Yeah, but he's my asshole."
Yeah. Mhm.
If we got to have an ass in the White House, let him be our ass.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just that's the blunt, and that should qualify you now as an adult only channel.
Yeah.
We have to get them words in every so often just to remind people, don't let your kids watch this.
Yeah, that's right. Mhm.
But
And I agree. It having Trump as president has really really made the political landscape very interesting.
well, it has been that's for sure.
Mhm.
It's been. Thanks, Ron. Yeah.
But I don't think it really matters who the Republican is. I think they're going to go after him no matter
Oh yeah.
what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've it's like what he said. What upsets him the most is the realization that we're actually paying big. Oh, I
Oh,
think it's
salary.
salaries. It's supposed to be salaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
To each and every dim in Congress and those deep state bureaucrats.
Yep.
Yeah, we're paying them. You know, that's what this is really about. That's why you got those little dweebs like that lieutenant colonel coming out there and saying, he actually was under the assumption that it was his job to set foreign policy. No, his job is, and I don't think, it's when I was in the service, we defended what our, we followed the orders. It was up to the State Department, and
Right.
those were civilians that were supposed to set for. Yeah, we figured that out. Yeah. But it was the civilians, the Secretary of State, and the State Department that set foreign policy.
Right.
It was our job in the military, should we be needed, to make sure that policy was followed. If some country was, breaking the rules and we were called upon to defend our allies, well, then we went in and did that, But I can't think of one person. I mean, the time I was in there, not one person I knew that was sitting around and said, well, we don't like the way the foreign policy is working. We're going to make our own. No, that's not how it worked.
Yep.
And somewhere we've got these mamby-pamby bunch of, peon bureaucrats that are in the military now. And that started happening under Clinton. He started stripping the military and he started putting in his own, those with leftist ideals and stuff. And then Obama, he had those 8 years to really get rid of. I mean, anybody that ever spoke out against him, they were gone. They would find something on them and they were gone. And a lot of them left without a retirement. And I think that was highly unfair because they put in 20 plus years, or they left at a reduced retirement after putting in 20 years and earning a certain rank. And they said, well, you shouldn't have said that. Now you've got to, you're going to have to, uh, we're going to bring you up Article 15, which is going to mean a reduction in pay, a reduction in rank. It's going to affect your retirement, or you can resign right now.
Mm. Oh,
And that's what they've done to this military.
right. Hmm.
And the military currently, for the most part, and Trump's trying to reverse that, but
Yep.
you know,
Well, I was talking earlier how Trump is filling a lot of these vacancies in the courts. And
yeah,
I think that is the main reason why the Democrats are really against him, because he's undoing everything they've done over the past 20 plus years under Obama and Clinton and
yeah,
with George W. Bush. He tried to put him in, but he was stymied
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of times. He couldn't fill all those vacancies. And now Trump's in, and he had a Republican House and Senate first couple of years, and boom, he was able to get two conservatives on the Supreme Court. And then you start getting more conservatives installed in the lower courts, the district,
right,
the
right,
circuit courts, the appeals, appellate courts,
yeah,
and so forth. Yeah. And
yeah.
that's got
Well,
Democrats.
I honestly think they're trying to get him impeached before. I mean, every time Ginsburg gets sick, they send her over to the hospital, pump her up with a little more embalming fluid to keep her going, and send her back. Said she's still alive.
Yep.
You
Hmm.
know, she's just as long as she's alive, as long as she's taking a breath, they can't fill that spot because she
Yeah.
refuses. At some point, I think there ought to be a stage where you know they're required to. I think this lifetime uh, thing on the Supreme Court is a joke in the first
Yeah.
place. Because I mean, when did she come in? Was she under?
He was under Obama.
Is he the one who brought her in?
Yep.
Okay. Well, who was
Yeah,
it?
I think it was, or was it Clinton? I'll have
I
to.
was thinking it was Clinton because she's been on the court for a long time, and I was pretty sure it was Clinton, but I may be wrong. Because I mean, she's older than Methuselah's grandmother.
Yeah, she is. Okay. Not Allen Ginsberg.
Yeah,
Why do I have Allen? Okay. I remember when she first got on the court, Rush Limbaugh kept calling her Ruth Fuzzy Ginsburg.
yeah, she did. Yeah, Mitch says it was Clinton. I thought it was because she'd been there for quite a while.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's
you're right. You're right.
yeah,
She
yeah,
went on the court in August 10th, 1993. Wow, she's been on the
yeah.
court for a long time. So, yeah, okay.
He said, Mitch, yeah, he says that he still calls Rush still calls her, uh,
Ruth Buzzy
but
Ginsburg.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but
Yeah, and if she goes, then the court uh, is even more conservative. It'll be 6-3
yeah, yeah,
conservatives, and probably what'll happen is after she's gone, Thomas will probably retire, and a couple other conservatives have been on the bench for a long time.
yeah.
So,
Thomas has been on. Well,
back during was it Reagan or no? It's George H.W. Bush.
George H.W. Yeah, he's about the oldest one on there now,
Yeah, I
isn't
think
he?
so. Mhm.
Or he's been serving longer. I don't know if he's the oldest, but he has been serving quite a while.
Hmm. And they were able to replace Kennedy with a real conservative because he was
Yeah,
always the swing vote on the Supreme Court. Yep. And
yeah, I agree with Mitch where he says, I wonder what they have on Roberts because some of his decisions don't make any sense.
yeah, I know.
I never understood Roberts anyways because I thought I always thought he was a little too liberal, and because now Roberts is the Chief Justice, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I never understood why he got that position because he was just new.
Yeah.
He was just a new guy on the block, and as far as I'm concerned, somebody else should have been put in Chief Justice.
Hmm.
And I never understood that decision to pick him for this Chief Justice.
Well, might be a decision up to the other justices to
No,
decide.
I think he was nominated as the Chief Justice position
Ah,
by Bush 43.
yeah, okay. You're
Yeah,
right.
because he was he was nominated for Supreme Court, and then I can't remember who was it. Scalia who died?
Yeah. Mhm.
No, it wasn't Scalia. Scalia died after while Obama was president.
Yeah. Right.
But
Yeah.
whoever the Chief Justice was before Roberts, uh, he either died or retired suddenly, and instead of just nominating as the getting appointing him as a justice, he was appointed as the Chief Justice, and I think
Right.
that's when Stevens came in
Ah,
as they brought Stevens in as just a regular justice.
right.
But
Okay. Hmm.
if I remember, and I don't remember everything anymore.
And Bush had another. Well, before Roberts, there was Harriet Myers, and she was even more
Yeah,
liberal than Roberts. So,
yeah.
uh,
Well, and the Bushes were never true conservatives.
right.
They were center. That's why they and Bill get along so well. They don't get along with Hillary so much, but they get along with Bill.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, because Bill was he was left of center,
Yeah.
whereas George W. was right of center, and
Uh-huh.
George H.W. But they were still hello, Chris Hope. But they were still uh, they were close enough to the center. They were centrist so much that they could be friends. And but yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways, I lost. Yeah,
Yeah, and you're right. They're closer together because they're closer to the center than they're.
yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. I had that squirrel moment there, and I forgot what I was talking about.
And
But,
uh,
but oh man, I'm just
oh,
beat this weekend.
I was doing some house cleaning, arranging boxes in my closet, and going through some stuff. I found some bumper stickers that said, "How to annoy a liberal: work hard and succeed."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how to do it. Work hard and succeed because they don't like success.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Well, they like a certain amount of success, but
they
not.
want enough success that you're going to pay taxes to so that they can give away the money to one of their bleeding heart liberal causes.
Right. Mhm.
And yeah, they just never cease to amaze me at the height of their stupidity
Mm.
and the depth of their arrogance.
Yeah. Mhm.
Hey, that was a good phrase. I just thought that up. Height of stupidity and depth of arrogance. I think I qualify under that too some days.
All right. Well, hey, Lloyd, we another fun show. We did a little
Yeah.
over an hour. Want to thank you again for being there, and we'll talk a little bit after the show. So, thank you guys for coming to the show.
Yeah.
I know a lot of you have missed a lot of it, so you can watch the beginning and enjoy the show. So, thank you, Chris and Mitch and Ron and
RC Drone or Drone Life RC. Yeah.
Jones.
He's been here right from the start. So
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah.
So, thank you guys for
Yeah.
being here. Next week, well, we'll make it a good show as we always do. Hopefully, now
Or we try.
vacation
We
comes
work hard at it.
the big holiday, and I'll be a little more organized. I just had a bunch of stuff going on. So,
I
uh,
was in there working on that other computer. And I
yeah.
looked at the clock on it was off an hour. I was thinking I
Oh.
had another hour to go, and then I got your text. And I'm like, oh crap.
Okay, so let's shut her down. And thank you guys for coming in. And we'll see you next week. Bye
Y'all be
bye.
nice to each
God
other. Bye
bless
bye.
America. God bless the great state of Colorado. See ya.